Hi everyone, it's Paula, and today I am here to show you how to do a single layer iron-on project. We're trying to go through this really simple for you so that if you're just getting started, you'll know every step that you need to do to make this project turn out just perfect. So to get started, we're gonna hop over into Design Space and I'm gonna show you what design we're gonna cut. All right, so here we are. I'm using the desktop app today, and as you can see, I have our super cute image already pulled up. It says bring the 90s back, which, you know, right now I think they're bringing 80s back, so we've got 90s coming up shortly. So here, because this is already where we need it to be, the size that we need it to be, we don't have to do a whole lot with it. But if you needed to make it smaller or larger for a different size shirt, you can come right down here to this little guy, and that will just let you move your image and resize your image however you need it. So you can just change that however you want, or up here we have the size that you can change for the width and the height. Right now we have this image locked. So if I change the width to a 7, it is automatically going to change my height to a 10.131. If I wanted to manipulate that differently, I could unlock my proportions here just by clicking on that little padlock. Now, you do have to be careful when you're doing this, because if I were to change the width to say a 4, it's made my image thinner, but now it looks very stretched because it didn't change the height. So you do want to manipulate your height along with your width if you do unlock your proportions. So if we do something like that, a 4x6, you can tell that it looks more normal as the original did, but we were able to play with the dimensions a little bit by unlocking that proportion. All right, so once you get it to the size that you need it to be, you head over here to your machine. You want to select the machine you are using. So you're either going to select the Cricut Maker or the Cricut Explore family. Now, no matter which machine you pick, it is going to cut the same. From here on out, it's going to be pretty much the same process. Today, we're using the Explore. So I have that clicked. We're using the Peach Kiss Explore Air 2, which is super cute. And we hit Make It. Now we're here to our matte screen. And as you can see, we have it right there. Now, another great thing is if you're using a scrap piece of iron-on or something that you've already maybe cut out of, you can move this on your mat anywhere you need it to be. So don't feel like you're tied down to where the computer and the software puts your image. You can move that around to wherever you need it to be. Now over here, this is kind of the smaller version of our matte screen, and right down here it says mirror. Because we are making an iron-on project, we are going to click mirror, and as you watch, it will flip it backwards. Because we are ironing on, we want it to be, and we cut with our shiny side down, we want it to cut properly so that when we put it on our shirt, the words are not backwards. So it cuts it backwards, so then when we flip it and place it down onto our material, it's the correct way. So now we're going to hit continue, and it's going to pull up our machine. I am directly connected to my machine through my USB. If you were using your Bluetooth, it would give you a list of the machines that you could choose from. So if you have a different machine, or it would just pull up the name of your machine and you'd be able to click to it from there, sorry. So now it's gonna have us set our material. We're using our Air 2, and right now it's cut to custom. But if we move to the forward-facing screen, I will show you that because this has a knob on it right here, we can actually just choose iron-on our machine. You can also choose it through there, but it has a select amount of materials on here that it's already programmed for the correct depth to cut. All right, and now as you can see, it's telling me to load. So we're gonna go ahead and put this guy right in here. You wanna make sure that you have your mat under these two little feeder feet on the side, and you wanna give it just a touch of pressure while you're feeding it so that it pulls through the way it's supposed to. All right, and now our C here is gonna start flashing, so we're gonna go ahead and get that cutting. All right, so we have it all cut out for us now. If we can switch to the overhead, I'm gonna show you guys some weeding. So as you can see, our image takes up about that much of the iron-on. So what we want to do is we're going to trim this up right here so that we can save that for use in the future. So what I like to do is place my material face down, and then I pull back. And you just pull the mat right off of the material, and that helps it so your material doesn't curl as much. All right, and so now we're gonna take our scissors and just trim up this side. You wanna make sure that you trim closely so that you can save as much of your material as possible, but you wanna stay far away from your cut line so you don't accidentally cut into your image. All right, so see, we have this whole piece that you could use, and so we're definitely gonna save that for later. All right, today we are using our Everyday Iron-On, which we love. It's such a great product and it goes on so well. As you can see here, we have our Everyday Iron-On with the Strong Bond Guarantee, but we also have a Sport Flex Iron-On. You really wanna make sure when you're in the store to check of which iron-on you're getting, because you wanna make sure you're doing what you need, or I'm sorry, you're getting what you need for the project you're doing. So our Everyday is for like a lot of your cottons and different cotton blends. Your Sport Flex is gonna be more for the nylon and polyester blends that kind of have a little more flex to them and a little more give. So this material has a little bit more give to it when it's on your materials. All right, so now we're gonna get to weeding. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a love-hate relationship with weeding. Weeding for me, with projects like this, where it's kind of the bigger chunks, where you're, just weeding out those big pieces, it's great, but the intricate weeding, man, it makes my hands shake and I get all nervous that I'm gonna pull out the wrong parts. But I know some people have told us that they find weeding very therapeutic. It's their favorite thing, that just to find a great project to weed, and just kind of like it takes their mind off of everything else. So as you learn more about your machine and weeding and all the different projects you can do, you'll have to let us know if you find your favorite of either weeding or creating, whatever takes your mind off of, just everyday worries and things like that. All right, so as you can see, we're just getting out those little pieces, because when we have these big weeding portions, sometimes it'll not pull out these little ones. So we just use our weeder and grab those out. All right. And as you can see, it cut really well. So the pieces are just coming right out. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you're paying attention to the material that you pick when you're cutting. You want to make sure that you have the correct material selected so that you do get those nice clean cuts, and it's easy to weed, and you're able to have your project turn out exactly how you want it to. Okay, so we have our whole project weeded, and now when we turn it over, look how great that looks. All right, so now we're going to come over here to our t-shirt that we're using. Now, you want to make sure that you have either a hard, solid surface. If you're using an iron or an easy press or anything, you want to make sure that your surface is solid. You don't want to use an ironing board or anything like that that has give underneath, because it'll flex away from you, and you don't want to have that happen. So you want to make sure that you have the best pressure that you can and even pressure, so that you have the best adherence for your image. All right, so what I like to do is just kind of set this down here. Now it's gonna take some moving around. You wanna make sure you get it as centered as possible. You have it low enough down from the collar so it doesn't look too high. And you can just kind of play with this however you want. Usually I'm an eyeballer, so I just take the farthest part and I just kind of measure with my fingers. So we're about there and about there. That's actually pretty good. All right, so we've come over here to our heat guide because we want to make sure that for our materials and our base material, we're using the proper heat and time. So if you go to Cricut.com/en_US/heat guide, then it'll bring you right here. If you don't want to try and remember that URL, all you have to do is just Google EasyPress Heat Guide and that will be the first thing that comes up for you. So we have all of our different EasyPresses here. We have our Mini, our EasyPress 2, and our EasyPress. We are using the EasyPress 2 today, so we're going to make sure and click that, and then we're going to go down here and select our materials. Today we are using 100% cotton shirt with everyday iron-on. So under our iron-on, we have everyday right there at the top, and then our base material is, like I said, our 100% cotton shirt. We are using an EasyPress mat underneath. You can use a towel, but like I said, make sure that you have a very solid surface underneath. You don't want an ironing board or even probably a folding table that might flex away from you while you're using your EasyPress. And now you hit apply. Here it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So we are going to preheat for 5 seconds at 315 degrees for 5 seconds, and then we're going to heat at 350 degrees for 30 seconds. We're going to use light pressure where we just set our hands on it. It's not anything that you need to put weight behind, and it's going to be a warm peel. That means you can touch it. You don't want to wait for it to be cold, but also you don't want to burn your fingers off. It's also going to tell you here exactly what you need. Your supplies, the preparation. You always want to preheat. It doesn't take very long, but you also don't want to wait around. So while you're cutting out your material, you can have your EasyPress 2 preheating. And now it's going to tell you the application. So we're going to place the iron-on face down with the liner side up. So remember, we cut and we press differently. So when we cut, we cut shiny side down. And when we press, it is shiny side up. So liner side up. Now we press with light pressure, and then we flip it over and we press from the back for 15 seconds and slowly remove the liner while it's still warm. After that, we have the care instructions. So you want to make sure that before you wash this, you let the iron-on sit for at least 24 hours. You wash and tumble dry inside out, and don't use any bleach. If you happen to pre-wash your material, make sure you don't use any fabric softener because that will affect how it adheres to the material. So that looks good, but what we need to do now is preheat. So now that we have a general idea of where we're gonna place that, we're gonna grab our EasyPress and we are gonna preheat our area. All right, so we're just gonna do this for just a few seconds, about 5. Kind of get that area preheated. All right, so now we have that done. What this does, and I know a lot of people think, oh, my material's already flat, I don't need to preheat. What the preheating does is it draws out any moisture that might be in the material that you're using. And you could feel this shirt and think that it is bone dry, but I promise you there is moisture in there, and it can affect how it adheres, how the iron-on adheres to the shirt. So you just want to make sure that you do that preheating step. All right, so we're gonna go back here, and we can use this V here. If you look at my shirt, a lot of people like to use this to line it up, but if you look at how off-center that little tagless part is. So we wanna go from here on the shirt, and then with a V-neck, it's a little different. Usually you wanna do about 3 finger widths down from the collar, but with a V-neck, because it already comes down lower, you usually probably wanna use about 2. So we're gonna pull that up there, lay that down, and then we're just gonna do our measuring again. It's a little bit too far over to the side. All right, so that's about center. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our EasyPress and we're gonna set it on there, and we are going to press our little Cricut C.
And this is light pressure. So what we're going to do is just basically rest our hands on it. You don't need to put your weight behind it or anything like that. The 10 by 12 has a lot of weight to it on its own, so we just really need to give it light pressure while we're doing this. All right, and we're gonna do this for 30 seconds. And after the 30 seconds is up, we're going to flip it over and press from the back. That is an important step, and you wanna make sure you don't skip it because it is part of our Strong Bond guarantee. When you're using Cricut Everyday Iron-On, it does come with a Strong Bond guarantee that if you follow the steps, that it will last more than 50 washes. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know that I've ever worn something 50 times. So really, you could almost say the lifetime of the garment that you will own it. So from the back, when we press, we're only gonna do it for 15 seconds. So we counted down from 30, and we're gonna go ahead and lift that off. All right, and there you go. We have our image ironed on. We are going to pull this out from underneath because our mats do hold the heat in, and that helps give us such a great adherence for the iron-on. So we're gonna let it cool just so it is like we can touch it. It will be a warm peel. So now we're just gonna peel like that. And if you see any parts that didn't stick the way you wanted, you can give it a little bit more heat, but you wanna make sure that you go at an angle and you don't go slow, but you do wanna go, like, not just rip it off. You wanna go at a nice pace where you can make sure that everything is stuck down the way it's supposed to be. And look at that. All right, there is our shirt. And as you can see, it is on there. And there's barely even any feel to it outside of the t-shirt. Like, it's not real thick or anything. And that's what I love about the single layers with these fun images, is you just get that nice flat feel of your shirt. So it doesn't even feel like there's anything on there. All right, well, thank you so much for making this shirt with us, and we hope that you were able to learn something and to get comfortable using your machine. And make sure that you check out our other Getting Started videos so that we can teach you how to use your new Cricut machine.